Welcome to the Exploring Possibilities Over Coffee podcast. My name is David Gilbert, and this is a podcast for those who are committed to growth and courageous enough to pursue the crystallization of their golden potential. We live in a universe of infinite possibility, yet sometimes we like to focus on the limited uncertainty right in front of our feet. If you are committed to your personal growth and living a truly fulfilling life, or what I call your golden life, this is a podcast for you. I assist creators, change makers, and service-driven leaders as an alchemical advisor and insight instigator. In my coaching practice, I dig deep into my client stories and show them new perspectives on their lives and or perceived problems. I enjoy working with and studying the top 2%, the world's peak performers, so I can distill the most effective practices and insights that transforms people's lives. My mission is to create a new paradigm on this planet where living and healing is transmuted into a fun process of discovery. My intention for you today is that you walk away with one insight that will greatly improve the quality of your life. But remember, you are the alchemist. Only you can transmute or take action on the insights we discover today and turn them into inner or outer gold. Welcome to the Golden Life. Let's co-create a more beautiful world for ourselves and all mankind. Welcome to Exploring Possibilities Over Coffee. Hi, I'm David Gilbert, your host, and today I have Andy LeSavage. I believe I pronounced that right. But Andy, thank you for being here.
Thank you, David. It's good to see you, and I'm glad I've got my coffee ready to go and have a good conversation with you.
Yeah, same. I got one of my coffee mugs I created here. It says, "Your only moment to live harder is now." So
I love it.
Let's do it. And just to introduce Andy, Andy is a health and fitness entrepreneur and innovator who lives in Santa Barbara, another beautiful spot right up there with San Diego where I live. And previously he was the head of marketing at Spirit Rock Meditation Center, The Battery, uMake, and SeeControl, which is acquired by Autodesk. So excited to have you here, and let's just get right into it, Andy. So what's the one topic that we can explore that would make today's conversation remarkable for you?
Yeah, I think it would be most helpful to talk about winnowing down all of these ideas as an entrepreneur, having concepts to create new products, new companies, new brands. I think what would be most helpful is really narrowing down when someone's creative, like myself, someone's in marketing, who's worked in a lot of different industries. I think what can we do to have conversations, to have new frameworks of thinking, to narrow down what's really the priority, what's the most important thing to focus on, what is able to be delegated or, given attention at a certain time. So I would love to talk about that and maybe come up with some strategies, some perspectives to help hone in amongst a bunch of different ideas, a lot of opportunity, constantly coming up as far as, new trends. What is the thing that needs to be kind of top of mind, or what's a framework that we can do to establish, here's what I'm going to focus on as an entrepreneur, someone who's got now, a full-time job, the prominence of side hustles and things like that. How does someone really hone that in and bring about their larger purpose and mission? And I'd love to hear kind of your perspectives on how to go about that.
Beautiful. I love it. And I'm sensing you're a lot like me. You're creative problem solver. You love, putting yourself out there and coming up with big problems to solve, to challenge yourself, but also really like for yourself too, like exploring possibility, exploring insights, and you get a thrill out of kind of pursuing those ideas and being that creative problem solver. Is that right?
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to, I already love today's conversation because I can relate so much. And it's just like you said, how do we explore possibilities, which we're doing here, but a big part of it too is not only exploring the possibilities but nailing down that insight And through taking action or cultivating commitment, we can really bring that insight, that possibility into the world and be a creator. So I just like to highlight on for everybody, like we all have that sense in us of being a creator. But for you, like I know what it's like. I struggle myself as a creative. I went to school for advertising at Art Center College of Design. Very much a creative problem solver. Why I love getting lost in ideas too, but it is a process when you are naturally kind of built that way to come up with all the fun ideas and then like, oh, I see exactly how it could fit into this. I see the timeline of how it's going to solve this problem. It's going to work out 5 to 10 years from now. But then it
Right.
comes back to this moment like, okay, what's the one thing I need to do right now to make way to that? Uh, so
That's funny. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go for it.
Well, just the timing thing is huge too, right? So I had worked in startups in San Francisco a decade ago, and I was really cutting edge as far as shopping from Instagram, this whole new influencer economy. And I was really excited on that. And I created a lot of things, even NFTs. I was talking about basically what turned out to be NFTs years and years ago. But so, you know, the excitement for me as someone who likes to create things versus the right timing in the market or getting the right feedback, it's wild, as an entrepreneur, like the psychology, the timing, what's an idea to me that's been maybe my own passion, but how can I find someone else that has a similar passion to work together on this thing? Is it the right time for individuals? Is it the right time for the market to hit? Like it's just, it's crazy as someone that wants to be creating things, innovating things, to pay attention to what's happening, but what's still needed to be brought to the market. For me, that's such an interesting thing. We could talk for hours about the psychology of entrepreneurship, of creators, people like Elon Musk. He wasn't the first to do any of this stuff, but he's had the capital to be able to execute, and he's had the frameworks to go out there and to lead. You got spaceships, you've got cars, you've got solar, everything now. So I think there's also that connection that no matter what idea, no matter what product or business you have, you also need to be able to have the resources to execute on that. So for me, that's been very important, and it's oddly tied together with being able to speak about what's happening, being able to pitch about something, being able to say, hey, you like coffee, you like entrepreneurship, let's jam on this a little bit more. So there's just so much there.
Yeah, 100%. We can have like a 2 to 4 hour conversation, I know, between us two about entrepreneurship and the whole journey and everything. And I really, to highlight some of the things you said, it's kind of knowing where to leverage. And then there's
Right.
also the externals of hitting the market at the right time, a little bit of luck or possibility. Some people can make whatever, you see it all the time on Facebook nowadays, like make 10,000 in 30 days
Yeah.
or whatever. Yes, okay, once in a thousand, like you just hit the right thing and you strike gold, but often it's decades of working towards something, and then you
Right.
become the overnight success. So to bring it back and it's to really highlight what are the things that are external, which are beyond our control, and what are internal, what can we control. And it's usually our process of how we show up and kind of what we commit to creating. So I want to go a little deeper into you and kind of draw out what really makes you excited when it comes to pursuing ideas. And what would you say, if I were to ask you what do you love about coming up with different entrepreneur ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I love working at the spark point, the ignition point, right? For me, there's that combustion and there's a spark. There's like two things come together, and a lot of times I might think it's about the product or innovating something, but it's really about the connection with another like-minded person that might be out doing their own thing. I love the kooky entrepreneurs because they're just doing stuff that they love half the time. And it's like you see that local person who's just roller skating or like biking and they're on their own path and you're like, wow, like they're just rocking out. And so I just constantly try and get into the state for me where I'm doing things that I get excited about. And so there's only so much I can do though as an individual. I can, like, I've got moleskin journals, right? I've got legal pads, I've got a whiteboard. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do the Eisenhower matrix, like urgent, what's not urgent, what do I really want to do? So I'm constantly trying to figure out frameworks to really hold myself accountable. But at the end of the day, it needs to be like we have conversations. I need to, like, talk to you. I need to be open up to hearing some feedback, really, because I think that's the hardest part for someone that wants to be an innovator or creator like myself. Have ideas and prototypes. I've worked on product prototype with the guy who created Hydro Flask water bottles, and so
Awesome.
got a really cool prototype, but it's just been sitting there. I haven't found the right, like, the right physical therapist or the right entrepreneur to be able to move that forward in a sense. And yet I could go out and I could create all these videos and try and do crowdfunding for all these things, but I don't know, there's something to it where I want to be ready for the right opportunity and the right time, and like I don't need to have the person of the day. And so I think that's the biggest thing that I'm now, having gone through this ringer of like, oh, I'm a creator and I'm cutting edge. That's fine, but I need to be able to really slow it down to be able to connect with someone on these things to move it forward, right? And that's the biggest thing, because I've built websites, I've done all of these things, and I get excited about creating new brands, because when you create a new brand, you can have a symbol and an entity that is bigger than yourself. So, for instance, autumnbrands.com, I am the marketing director for them right now. And so I am very excited because we launched a whole new website, and it's a family run cannabis farm in Carpinteria, and female owned, it's sustainable, and it aligns with all my passions as far as, you know, health and wellness related product and company. And so I got to come in and do new brand, new packaging, and new website. So I love polishing, you know, entrepreneurs' passions. And so if it's anyone that's just doing their thing and they're sharing from their heart their product or their service. And so I like to come in and say, well, have you thought about the logo and the social media presence, and you know, how are you putting content out there that's actually helping people? And there's so much to this beyond just a logo or a website. And yeah, I can build websites, I can do brands, but for me, the excitement comes from solving new problems almost, and helping someone take this vision that might not be easily articulated and say, oh, well, if you actually have a website, this can help you articulate what you do, and it can help people, you know, solve the problem that they're looking to solve. So that's what excites me.
I love it. And I appreciate you getting right into it and just like, you know, sharing very thoroughly. And to reflect back, I really heard you say three things: alignment of passion, purpose, and for you being like surface driven is really, you know, a critical value of yours. And then also people, having the right people on board. And we can get really practical and tactical for a second, and then I can take you through some exercises to kind of see like where your future, because you just shared a lot of ways that you love to help people, but like where do you see yourself in 3 years or further, but also practically and tactically, like do you have a MTP, you know, a massively transformative purpose? It's kind of like the umbrella for everything that you do.
Right. Well, I've done the Ikigai, you know, very similar. Like, what can I do that's going to help the world? What can I do that's going to make money? And then what's my driving purpose and passion? And so
And
that's
what
the
was that?
thing where it's around health and fitness, right? So if I can help people live stronger, healthier lives. Like I grew up with a good friend of mine who became one of the best ultra marathon runners in the world. And it's just like our mentality and like constantly looking at what can we do for nutrition, workouts, and push our body and our minds to this next level. And so, when the pandemic hit, I started profitstrength.com, and I was able to ship out tens of thousands of pounds of weight across North America selling adjustable dumbbells. So for me, that was a win-win because I got to stay healthy and I got to deliver this product that I know at the end of the day, someone can use it to live a better life. And so for me, it's constantly coming around this, holistic health purpose that transcends any particular, job or function at that time, because I know I'm building towards that in the long run. And, if I can interact with anyone locally or online anywhere across the globe, I'm able to share that authentic purpose. I've got the story. I've had my own health issues, but then through, strength training and mental, endurance, fortitude, I've run 2 ultra marathons this year and, done a lot of things. And so I think it's just sharing that with the world. And so, podcasts and interactions like this are huge for me to be able to share these concepts that maybe I've just been hiding or doing myself, implementing myself. So I'm trying to get that out there in the world and also not be bound by these brands or companies too, right?
Yeah. And I'll stop you from saying trying. Remember, like, watch the power of your language. You're doing it. You're right. You're sharing. But now, you kind of have the umbrella of I'm showing a triangle for listeners, and it's like this triangle. And at the top is health and fitness. And like, even after the past couple of years, we see how important that is. Like, everybody needs to get a little bit more healthier. And we learn that on a worldwide scale. But coming back to practical, and it's a big part of my practice, is like, how do we dip into flow? And it is aligning those passions with the purpose. And when you develop curiosity into passion and you stack that onto purpose, then we have more motivation to be more process oriented and create in the moment. So I'm hearing really great self-awareness from you, but it kind of sounds like you have this you're in endless possibility right now. It's like,
right.
Which mountain is mine to climb? Which one do I really want to climb that's in a line with my MTP, my massively transformative purpose, and I can be of service and I could build that team or create those connections that are high value to me. So if Andy, if you were to call me in 3 years and you told me they've been the best 3 years of your life, both professionally and personally, what would you tell me? What would you be doing? And you don't have to put an exact label on anything, but what would that look like?
Yeah, I would say I've been able to create new companies where I can step out of the process a little bit and step out of the need to control everything as far as what it looks like and how it functions. Because at the end of the day, I want freedom. I want to be an entrepreneur and I want to innovate. And so I think just in 3 years from now, I want to be someone that's been able to create massive value for people around health and wellness and be sharing, my message, my network, and these products in a way that I can put it out into the world knowing that I had really good intentions. And, if it's going to succeed, it's going to succeed. And, hopefully solve a problem that a lot of people have. And so I want to be valuable. I want to create systems for others. So, I think it's going to be something about me stepping out of these systems that I can create for other people, really.
Beautiful. Love it. Okay. There you go right there. The systems you can create for other people. And I want to acknowledge, like, you're the type of person just love supporting any way possible, because it is time for everybody who's service driven to step up, because the world needs us more than ever.
Yes.
Same goes for anybody listening to this too. And it's just those little ways we kind of narrow our idea of what's possible, or what we think the story we tell about ourselves what's possible. But to bring it back, okay, building systems, kind of that 3 mark out. Now, if I were to change that up and ask you, what is one skill that you would be willing to commit to for 25 years to develop, what would that be?
That's a great question, David. I'd say the skill of working diligently with other people. I would say, staying consistent with showing up every day, communicating, and moving the ball forward. I think sometimes it's easy to get bogged down in the emotion or passion of creating new things, but I want to be able to sustain that excitement. I want to be able to sustain the growth. And so I think it's wild to think about startups and the average marketing person, average CMO lasts less than 2 years in the company. And so I think for me, it's about having a sustained creativity that I can come with every day and be consistent. Not that I need to just come every day with the best game-changing idea, but it's like, how am I going to show up professionally and work with designers, owners, social media people, you name it. I just want to be able to be consistent as a human being. I think that's where the underlying skill is emotional intelligence, leadership. As someone that wants to be a creator, I've really had to strive to be all right with being a leader in a weird way. I think sometimes find it comfortable to be a role player, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be happy unless I'm pushing the boundaries, which means, creating new things, which means accepting capital and also just delegating. And there's only so much that I want to do or can do on a daily basis. And so if I could have people that I can trust to run these operations, that would be ideal. And so it's going to be managing very smart, successful people where I'm not threatened by what they're bringing to the table on a daily basis, right? And everyone can co-create these things where it's not like, this is just my idea. It's like, okay, well, it needs to be in relationship.
Beautiful. And you said the word, but I was going to reflect back everything you said. You boil it down, it's just leadership. And there you go.
Right.
You understand that, okay, I want to be, and in your case more specifically, a creative leader. Kind of like I have a
Right.
book, Rise of the DEO, the design thinking
Yes.
entrepreneur. So for you, it's that creative leadership. And I could share, with coaching, it's also leadership, but in a different way. Like I know my role is actually just to reflect and be curious, to help others go deeper into what they're looking for, what they want to create. And then the next step is commitment and finding ways you can commit. And we'll kind of go into a little bit of that. But just to highlight for yourself, how does that feel to, okay, I know I want to be a creative leader. And in 3 years, I really would like some kind of system, create systems that I can have a team, whatever, execute on or build or whatever you want to do. But how does that feel kind of moving forward?
That feels good. I think this is the thing that I need help with, and that it helps to have accountability and have conversations to say, okay, well, that's great in 3 years. I want to, have this broad service of, creating systems, but what's that really look like on an executional level, on a, a roadmap? What's actually going to be accomplished in the next year, 2 years to get to that point too. And so I think that's where I want to be able to just have business partners, and I want to have shared milestones, right? And so I would love to have it not only be revenue based, but just kind of how does it feel to be actually running a business with business partners. And so I think for me, it's getting to that level of having people that I can trust and lead where I can lead, and then also trust that they're going to lead in how they're coming to the table. So
Yeah, amazing.
yeah.
And there you go. And for anybody listening too, it's like going through this process that we just went through can bring you that self-awareness. So for you, which is especially important as a creative leader, like where are my leverage? What is the leverage? And you touched on it
Right.
before with Elon Musk, and like he has access to resources, which gives you a lot of leverage. But I'm sure if we boiled his story down, he committed to one thing in the beginning,
Right.
built that system, made it really great, and then that kind of built the foundation to accelerate on the thousand things that he's doing nowadays.
Right.
So we
Right.
could kind of boil it down, and I like to think of creation in cycles. We have clarity, commitment, action, and reflection. And like I can hear, okay, I'm kind of in for you, Andy. It's like, oh, I'm in this reflection slash clarity, maybe a little bit more into the clarity. Okay, now I know I'm a creative leader. I want to build a team. I want to practice leveraging that team. So if we
Right.
just kind of boil that down to the commitment aspect, like what are you committed to? You said it yourself. Like what's one thing you could be committed to in the next year to help build that foundation that you're looking to pursue?
Yeah, great question. Great way to frame it. I'd say I'm committed to being someone that manages capital in a way that's adding value. So if I get the capital that I'm looking for, I've got a business partner that I know we can generate revenue. I know I've done that in the past. I was the marketing guy at a software was acquired for 10x the value. And so I know that these frameworks and these systems that I have created in the past can be done again. And I can take angel investment and turn that into what can hopefully be a huge return, but also, just beneficial, business as far as what's sustainable for me, what I want to work in, and what I want to do to add value. So I want to be comfortable leading, a creative team, but also that in my mind, as an entrepreneur, as someone that wants to create a new entity and, develop things like Profit Strength, I need to be all right with taking on capital and managing other people's capital, because then that's going to allow me to do all of these other things, to manage team members, to manage, creation of new assets and new products.
I love it. Cheers to that.
I
And I'm
need
sure
to
it's
get one of your mugs so we can
yeah,
cheers properly.
yeah. The goldenlife-shop.com, but I'll put in the show notes too. And I love nothing more than connecting people. So if anybody listening to this is like, "Hey, Andy sounds like the partner I've been looking for," I wouldn't be too surprised if miracles happened. And I encourage you to reach out to Andy. His information will be in the show notes. And to kind of bring this conversation to an end, Andy, what was like the one insight that really stood out to you the most today?
Yeah, I think the insight is that beautiful things happen when you can entrust having a conversation with someone that you get along with, admire, like yourself, right? So just the couple of things that you've been able to ask have helped me think and frame things. And so I just think that's the biggest takeaway is, again, it's about the people. There's innovation, creation, products, those all matter, but at the end of the day, it's always going to you're going to need to have it be relational, and you're going to need to evolve your perspective. And so having these conversations like with you here, David, is just immensely helpful. So grateful for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it received, and appreciate you. And it's something touched on, and this in podcast number 3 actually, of understanding what we really value the most. And just to kind of sum things up, of I learned when I lost my father at the age 11, just what you said, relationships, like so important. Like if you lose a real dear loved one, like there's no amount of like material money or anything that you would like not give up just to have a little more time with people you love. And then also to highlight for your story, Andy, somebody who has such a big heart and is driven to really be a change maker, and really help others find their embody true fitness and health. it's just as important to find those relationships that allow you to create, because it is when we come together we can create so much more. So props to
Absolutely.
you on the journey. And I know there's other gym owners and stuff that I've had on the show, and people will be listening to this. So hopefully some miracle can happen and some beautiful connection. But if not, at least you know now what mountain you're climbing, what skills you're developing as a creative leader. And you just get to look out for those opportunities for that right person to show up. And then you know when it's time, and take action. And hopefully in 3 years from now, we'll be like, touch base again, and I'll get to hear that you're doing it.
I love it. And yeah, let's hold each other accountable as men too, whether or not we're, contractually obligated, doesn't matter, man to man. I'd love that you're going to follow up with me, and hopefully I can add that value to you on the same end.
Yeah, sounds like a plan, Andy. And for any listeners too, shoot me an email. I'll probably have some like accountability partners in the Golden Life community. But yeah, what's the one area in your life where you can apply an insight that you grabbed from today? From seeing Andy get a little bit more clear, from being somebody who explores the field of infinite possibility, to nailing it down, to finding that thing you could commit to re-highlight the cycle of creation, clarity, commitment, action, reflection. Where are you on the journey, and what's the next step? And is it just committing to that one thing that you can do today? So thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Andy, for being here. And that's it for today.